Hello and welcome to the Next Gen Racing YouTube channel for our weekend preview. And what a bumper weekend preview we've got for you today. And I know it's been a little while. We weren't on last week. Jack unfortunately ill, and the week before, Willow made an excellent kind of debut on the show, taking the place of Jack while he was in Antigua. But he's back finally. How are we, Jack? Are we looking forward to this weekend?
Yeah, we're on the road to recovery. We're all good. Still not feeling 100%, but look, it's been nice to kind of take a little bit of a break away from the racing world. I've made it no secret that this flat season has perhaps been a little bit lackluster and failed to grip me as it has done previously. I suppose that kind of comes across in the tipping and punting, I think, for all punters who are kind of lacking the enjoyment perhaps of old. But look, this is an incredible weekend. We have this in the Breeders' Cup before the National Hunt season really kicks into gear, and I cannot wait.
Yeah, this weekend certainly going to whet the appetite for a lot of racing fans with plenty of Group 1s going on over the weekend. And we're going to be looking at one race from Newmarket today. That's going to be the Group 1 Sun Chariot. And then 7 Group 1s that we'll be covering from Longchamp. 1 on the Saturday and the final 6 coming on the Sunday. Let's kick things off then with the Sun Chariot Stakes. This is a Group 1 over a mile. It's for the fillies and mares, part of the British Champions Series. And look, it's not actually long until the Champions Series ends. Champions Day only 2 weeks away. Exciting times. A really, really fantastic day, Champions Day. I cannot wait for a couple of weeks' time. Let's go through the market then. The favourite here is Saffron Beach at 6-4. Homeless Songs is 11-4. Laurel is 6-1. Prosperous Voyage 15-2. Grand Dame and Lights On around 20-1 and 33-1 bar these. Now, I personally, Jack, think this could be quite an easy race here for Saffron Beach to go and do the business. Now, look, I know Homeless Songs. We saw this horse win the Irish 1,000 Guineas. We were all so impressed, but I'm just not sure she's as good as we hoped she'd be. I think we wanted her to be this superstar. It hasn't quite turned out, but look, she could prove me wrong at the weekend. I just expect to see a little bit more in Ireland. And I think Saffron Beach, look, Buick gets on ever so well with this horse. Interesting to see that he's going to be at Newmarket on Saturday rather than heading over to France for some of their races over there. So that makes things very interesting. I just think that this horse here, straight track, this horse is proven on this, and maybe Homeless Songs will enjoy a straighter track rather than the bend over in Ireland. But look, Jane Chapel Highland's horse has been so consistent, really, really lovable horse, and I think she's going to take all the beating. What about yourself?
Yeah, I completely agree. She's turned into a proper Group 1 performer,
Mm.
hasn't she? I mean, this season she's been so progressive ever since that run in Maidan, or ever since, I suppose, her win at Sandown, winning the Atalanta Stakes last year. But look, she's gone from strength to strength. She's the rightful favourite. Every time I keep trying to deny her place at the top of the market, she keeps proving me wrong. Last time out Ireland, it was still a good performance. I don't think she was below her best. I think she just bumped into a good Pearls Galore on the day. Homeless Songs, of course, it was a big old hype win earlier in the season. I think it was a
Mm.
very impressive. She was very impressive, but look, I think the way she's been campaigned, I can't myself try and slate the master, of course, Dermot Weld, but it has been quite interesting because she's not very versatile, of course, with regards to ground, and I'm surprised they've actually sent her to Ireland instead of sending her over to France. That did surprise me. Laurel's a very, I suppose, aesthetically pleasing on paper with the unbeaten record. Of course, was quite impressive at Kempton last time out in the Jumpmont colours. Of course, for Jonathan E. Gosling is going to be very popular. I'm also a big fan of Prosperous Voyage, of course, second in the 1,000 Guineas and one a below par Falmouth. I think it's fair to say. But for me, I think I'm with you here. I'm not going to be having a bet, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's a procession in the form of Saffron Beach.
Yeah, exactly the same. It's not a race that I'm going to be betting on, really, but I expect Saffron Beach, expect her to go and do the business with William Buick on board, soon to be champion jockey. I'm pretty sure that Holly Doyle needs to ride something like the time filming, like 4.8 winners per day, with Buick riding absolutely none. So yeah, Buick's going to be crowned champion jockey, and well deserved, a man who certainly deserves it.
Rightfully so.
Yeah, very much so. And obviously he'll be challenged next year with Oisin Murphy coming back. It's going to be really fascinating seeing Oisin back, and hopefully a good competitive challenge for the Jockey Championship next season. Let's head over to France and off to Longchamp now with one race we're going to be covering on the Saturday from there, and this is the Qatar Prix de Cadran, 2 miles, 4 furlongs, Group 1, and Kyprios is your 8-11 favourite here. Quick Fawn, 3-1, Tashcan, 6-1. Big jump then to Scazino, who's 18-1, along with Princess Zoe, and then much bigger the rest of them. Now, it's probably quite easy to say this, Jack, but Kyprios should just go and win this. Now, I absolutely love this horse, and I know that we want to see Stradivarius go and do things at Goodwin. It didn't quite happen, but what I love about Kyprios is that he seems to just do enough when he gets in front. He's not a flashy horse when he gets in front, but when he sees another horse come to him, he just pulls out more. And I think there could be more improvement to come from this horse next year. And we talk about this horse potentially being the next Yates, and I can see this being the case. I can see him really going on to win multiple cups. Royal Ascot, I've seen many Ascot Gold Cups from this horse, I really can. And, Goodwood, I'm sure we're going to see this horse go for a Triple Crown next year with the Stayers division. And yeah, it'll take all the beating. I don't think Quick Fawn will get away with the tactics that he did at Ascot, and Kyprios 8-11 might not actually be the worst price to add to some multiples for the weekend. Are you in agreement there?
Yeah, 100%. Again, not a race you can really look into too much. I don't know if the ground's going to be just a little bit too deep for him. That's the only thing I'm a little bit worried about. 2.5 miles on this bottomless ground probably demands a little bit different to what we've seen of him so far. But one thing he is, as you say, he battles. He's as game as anything, isn't he? I mean, he really sticks his neck out, and it's lovely to see a 4-year-old try and assert his dominance in the staying division as he has done this year. Quick Thorn, I was very surprised with. I thought he was going to win last time out, but nowhere near in that fashion. One that I think could run a good race behind Kyprios, perhaps Lismore, the Henry de Bromhead trained mare. I think over 2.5, 2 mile 2 behind Coltrane, and of course Trueshan last time out at Doncaster. I thought that was a good effort, and of course soft ground. I think it was at Sandown last year when he grouped through with Jamie Spencer on board at a big price where she gave a good account as well. So it wouldn't surprise me if Lismore can pick up the pieces in second or third, but I do think it's probably going to be the Kyprios show.
Yeah, 100%. So 2 short price favourites to kick things off, and not ones that we'll be punting hard on, but looking forward to seeing Kyprios back in action, hopefully on Saturday in the Cadran. Now let's head over, let's move over to the Sunday now for multiple Group 1s. Really exciting day this Sunday, one of my favourite days of racing to watch on the TV. And we kick things off with the Qatar Prix Jean-Luc Lagardère at 1:15 UK time. 7 furlongs for the 2-year-olds here. In the Antarctic is 5-2, Chartash 3-1, Tigre is 100-30, Brace Sky is 4-1 and 12-1 bar these. Jack, I'll let you go first. Who do you fancy?
I'm actually a big fan of Chartash. I think like the Antarctics had a BL campaign, of course, was pretty impressive when second at Newmarket last time out. And look, you can't knock him whatsoever. But I just think this race looks kind of teed up for Chartash. I mean, I wasn't too sure if the Antarctic was going to go with the quick turnaround, if I'm being honest. And I know Breeze, Sky and T Gray, I want to say, were very closely matched last time out. But I think the rest are a little bit of a muchness. I think it's going to be between the Antarctic and Chartash, and I think Chartash, it was quite an unlucky third in the national stakes last time out. I mean, he kind of got caught in a little bit of a pocket. It was on bottomless ground, and as soon as he tried to use his turn of foot, I mean, he tried to use it as much to his ability, but in that ground, it was very, very hard to use it. But I mean, he travelled very strongly that day. He's going to be better as he gets over further. His dam was a Group 2 winner over 1.25 miles in testing conditions. So I think the testing conditions won't be a problem. I think the trip's okay. And I think he probably is just the one to beat over the Antarctic. I know the market's very close, but I'm definitely going to side with Chartash.
Okay, Chartash 3-1 for Jack. It's going to be interesting with the ground at the weekend. Obviously, we don't fully know what kind of rain we're going to be getting, especially on the Friday and maybe even on the Saturday moving into the week. And it could end up to be absolutely bottomless like it was last year. So we'll just have to wait and see. I really like one in here, and this is going to be a bit biased in some ways, but I like Tigre for the Christopher Head stable. And a quick mention for Christopher Head, because obviously Freddie Head, his father, will be retiring at the end of the year. I'm sure Christopher's going to take over kind of the reins of what his father did, and hopefully get some horses with the Wertheimers, who are famous colours out in France. I've got a feeling that they may support Christopher Head in some way. Obviously, Goldacova and solo horses with Freddie Head that were absolutely exceptional. And Christopher Head, he's starting to get some really nice horses. Sevilla Spain, now retired. She was a really consistent mare for him. And now Tigre. Now, he really likes this horse, speaking to him midweek. Interesting that they come here, the only filly in the lineup. They could have probably gone for the Boussac, to be fair, and they've chosen to come here, which is interesting. And look, this horse has beaten Brace Sky in good staying on style last time out. It's kind of shown in the market with the way that there's only a small amount of difference in the prices, but this horse has some really, really decent gears to her. I've got a feeling she could be a bit of a star next season for him. And I agree with you with regards to some at the top of the market. The Antarctic ran a really big race last weekend, but backing up on kind of soft ground could be quite hard for a horse like that. And I wouldn't say, to be fair, Tigre's going to want it too soft either. But she's been laid out for this race. Honestly, Christopher seems very confident. She stays well And I think the pace should be set by Vicious Harry in here, which would really, really suit if we do get a strong pace. I've looked at it and the horses that are in here, and I think Vicious Harry is going to take the lead here and probably set it up for a finisher. And Tigre seems that 100 to 30 for myself, and Shartash at 3 to 1 for Jack. Let's move on to the Boussac then, the 150 over there. This is again for the 2-year-olds, this time for the fillies only. It's over a mile. Kalina 3 to 1, Wed 4 to 1, Never Ending Story 5 to 1, Habana 6 to 1, Blue Rosen 8 to 1, and double figures bar. I'll get this out of the way then. And I like Blue Rosen in here at 8 to 1 in the colours of Sabila Spain. Now she's made for a race like this. Again, I've managed. It's no secret that I've got a little bit of a friendship with Christopher Head. I've been chatting to him midweek. And he's very, very pleased with this horse. She's so consistent since her debut. Her form figures are 1-1-2-1, and was beaten by Victoria Road when finishing second 2 starts ago. And Victoria Road since come out for Aidan O'Brien and won again at Chantilly. I know that Victoria Road probably isn't a Group 1 horse, but I'm not sure there's an out-and-out Group 1 horse in here looking at the field. I think it's fairly open, and I think that she's going to go very close at what seems a fair price at 8 to 1, and hopefully a nice Sunday for Christopher Head, with some big stories coming this year. Obviously, his grandfather passing and his father retiring at the end of the year. So hopefully I can have a nice little double with those two. Who do you like in here, Jack?
I think the Marcel Boussac is one of the trickiest races of the year, if I'm being honest. Exciting 2-year-olds on bottomless ground. You're looking through pedigree time and time again to try and see who's going to be able to stay in this ground, and hopefully you pick them at the right time. I think it's a very, very tough race. I thought Wed looked very classy last time out, winning the Prix de Calvados in convincing style, of course. Habana and Kalina both come here as well with unbeaten records to maintain. If I was going to stick my neck out, it'd probably be the German-bred Habana. Of course, won on soft ground at Baden-Baden in a Group 3 last time out in convincing style. Looked like she relished the ground. I'm not going to be like you on the Christopher Head train. I don't know since when we've come a Christopher Head fan club. We're soon going to be going back to the Dan Skelton and Gosham fan club in just about a month's time. But no, I'm loving the support for Christopher Head. But hopefully Habana can get her head in front.
About you, I tell you what, you love a horse that's either got something German or ran in Germany or anything like that. We need to try and find like a thing that could fund you to get a trip out to Baden-Baden. You deserve that.
No, because I wouldn't know what to do then, because they're all German bred, so I'd be stuck. I can't back them all. So goodness me, I don't know what
I did see the blogger head out there, and he put up some great footage of Baden-Baden. It looks a really nice course, very interesting course actually. The way that they walk through as they parade out, they literally walk through the crowd. They don't have any rails or anything like that. They walk through just the middle of everyone. It's
I just love Andreas Voller. I mean, I remember when he sent over Estacas in the exact same colours as Habana to Ascot. And do you remember who was on board?
No.
Jamie Moore was on board. I think he was over a mile.
Oh no, I do remember this. No, I do.
Yeah, he opened up about 8 to 1, I want to say, and went off about 2s and then went in. So
that was it. Yeah.
I mean, stick with the Germans. You're going to come out in profit. That's what I like to stick by these days. It worked last year on this weekend, and come on, hopefully it'll work again.
I'm sure we'll get on to more German runners as we get to the end of the preview when looking at the lArc. Let's go on. We're going to skip the lArc. We're going to do that at the end. We'll move on to the 350 now, which is the Qatar Prix de l'Opera. It's a 1.25 miles for the fillies and mares. Nashua is the 2 to 1 favourite here, above the curve, 3 to 1. La Parisienne is 4 to 1. My Astra and Tuesday, 8 to 1 and 14s. Bar these. Who do we like here, Jack?
I think I don't actually know who you're on, but I feel like we're probably going to edge towards the same here. I don't know if La Parisienne will definitely be able to overturn to reverse the form with Nashua, but I think at double the price, I feel like La Parisienne is definitely the play. Look, the third last time out in the Vermeil, if you watch it back, she was ridiculously unlucky. I mean, she was travelling all over them, was met with an absolute wall of horses. Of course, it's so easy to find these easy eye catchers, as La Parisienne was, but I mean, you've got to take some encouragement out of that. Was denied the clear run. Didn't get into the lArc when she was fancied for the lArc. So I think you have to really think that 4 to 1, double the price of Nashua. Yes, Nashua has gone from strength to strength to strength, wherever she's gone over, be it in France or over in the UK. But look, I think this is a very hot race. You look at the likes of Maestro, who hasn't been seen since second in the Pretty Polly, and you've got, of course, a buyer there as well, a Garve as well, who could take another step forward. It's a really competitive race. La Parisienne at 4 to 1, I think, is a very, very lucrative prize, and hopefully it's going to pay dividends today.
Yeah, I spoke to you earlier in the week and kind of we talked for our arc fancies at this stage. And I did say to you, if Le Parisien got in, this would be my fancy. And
Mm.
by saying that, I've kind of got to stick with this horse. I know that the arc's over a mile and a half, this is over a mile and a quarter. That may be one of my only worries here. But look, if the ground comes up bottomless, it's going to suit a horse with staying power. And La Parisienne has this. Again, like you say, very unlucky last time out. But the winner of that race, Sweet Lady, since, well, now been well backed for the fillies and mares on Champions Day, so it'd be exciting to see a French horse come over again. God, it couldn't happen again with a big French horse coming over, could it? But yeah, it was a really eye-catching run, like you say. She seems to be improving as well, which I like. I think she's the big improver. I don't know where we've got with Nashua at the moment. I keep taking this horse on, and it may kill me, but I don't know whether the really soft ground is going to suit this horse, and we could see her quite vulnerable here. And La Parisienne out in France, so these French horses, really soft ground. I think she's the play. What do we make of Above the Curve, by the way? Because you were quite a big fan at the start of the season of this horse.
I was a big fan of Above the Curve. I don't really know what it is, but I sometimes feel like Aidan O'Brien, I know he really fires, but on bottomless ground, I sometimes feel like his horses can be. Oh, sorry, I mean Joseph O'Brien can kind of be left lacking. I mean, of course, a daughter of American Pharaoh, of course, by Galileo. I mean, I know that the second behind Thoughts of June at Chester was a decent enough performance, but I think yes, she's very unexposed, and yes, the Group 2 win at the Cara last time out was impressive enough. But I just feel like she perhaps has a little bit to find on Nashua or La Parisienne, who have that form over in France, who have that form on the soft ground. And I do feel like Above the Curve, yes, she does have a lot of potential, but perhaps not here.
Okay, yeah, it'd be interesting. But both of us with La Parisienne in the Prix de l'Opera on Sunday. Let's go on to the big sprint and the 425. It's the Abbey 5 furlong dash. This is on the sprint course at Longchamp. This is open to 2-year-olds and older horses. The Platinum Queen is 11-4. Bernoy is 11-2. Cour de Pierre is 13-2. Really testing the French accent, this. Mitbar, he is 8-1. A Case of You, last year's winners, 10-1 and 16s. And Bigger the rest. Now, the Platinum Queen, look, this horse, I really like this horse. I mean, maybe not for this race, but I love the fact here she's going to be getting £21 off 12 of these, which is absolutely ridiculous. Now, she finished second to Trillium the last day. That was on good to soft ground, I believe. And look, Trillium has since come out and disappointed. I just think that was due to the fact that horse didn't suit the Rolling Mile, to be personally honest. I think Trillium's still quite a good horse for the Hannam stable. But prior to that run against Trillium, she finished second in an unforked Highfield Princess, who's been exceptional all year and a really special horse for the Quinn stable. And I've just got this feeling that, look, she's going to put in another decent run again. I just worry that the ground's going to be too soft for this horse. And 11-4 seems far too short if the ground does come up bottom. So I'm going to be quite safe here, I think. And I'm going to go with A Case of You, who won this last year. May not be in the same form as he was last year coming into this race, but look, conditions are going to be there to probably suit again, and it wouldn't be a strong fancy, but I can see him running big and what's usually a messy race, Jack.
Yeah, I'd love to see Ado McGuinness have another Group 1 winner. It would be class, wouldn't it? Yeah, as you say, it's quite a scrappy race. It's not really a Group 1 standard sprint. You've got the likes of Mitt Barhi there, who I think would have a good chance if it was on good ground. I'm surprised you haven't gone for Pontos again, of course. You finally ditched the Pontos train there, which was great to hear. Of course, you've got Floaters, who gave a good account behind Highfield Princess in the Flying Five. The Platinum Queen, though, the 2-year-old filly, when is the season going to start paying its toll? That's what I want to know. I mean, if there is a time to see it, it's surely on bottomless ground over 5 furlongs in France after a trip abroad. I mean, I know she's been knocking on the door. She's been exceptional this year. Again, I think you can put a line through Chilliam's last run. I don't think that is any knock to the form whatsoever. And I mean, she's carrying 8 stone 4. She's literally carrying absolutely nothing. So look, I get why she is favourite. I think she is relatively tough to back, mind you. And there's a couple at a price. I'm not too sure if New York City is actually going to go here. But he was 4th, and that was a career best in the Flying Five behind Highfield Princess. Was quite prominent throughout and looked like he actually stayed on in good style. Hasn't been seen on this ground, so it'd be interesting to see if he does handle this ground at all. But New York City, and at the same price, you're going to hate me for this, my anti-post Commonwealth Cup fancy for this year, Castle Star for Johnny Stack. So I'm not too sure if he, but I mean, he seemed to bounce back and take a step forward last time out. He was 8th in the Flying Five with Jamie Spencer on board, was denied a clear run, about a furlong and a half out, had to switch right, stayed on in OK style, was just kind of going past beaten horses then, but that was a step back in the right direction. When he won the Marble Hill Stakes last year on heavy ground, he looked to relish that, beating Mosito, who was by no means a bad juvenile sprinter last year. So I do think if Castle Star is going to put in a good run, may not be good enough to actually win this, but I wouldn't be surprised if he can grab place money about 28 to 1.
Okay, Castle Star, New York City. A couple of decent each way shouts from Jack there in the Abbey. I'm going to stick with last year's winner, A Case of You, at 10 to 1. The final race we look at before going on to the big one, the Prix de l'Arc de Triomphe, is the Prix de la Forêt. This is at 5 p.m. UK time, 7 furlongs for the 3-year-olds and older. And Kinross is your 6 to 4 favourite here. Tenebris and 4 to 1. Fang is 6 to 1. Sandrine is 8 to 1. Malafaf and New Energy 10 to 1. And 16's about the rest of them. Now, Kinross was actually about 2 days ago, Jack, was sitting around 11 to 4, 3 to 1 with some bookmakers. And we've now seen Homeless Songs go over to Newmarket for the Sun Chariot, which has probably affected the price a fair bit. And we see this horse backed into 6 to 4 now. Is this the most likely winner?
Yeah, as the market suggests, but will I be backing him at 6 to 4? I'm not too sure. I mean, usually in these 7 furlong races, we've seen one have their ascendancy over the group of the lot. We had it with Space Blues, somewhat with One Master as well. So over these 7 furlongs, it looks like Kinross does have a grip over the rest of the other contenders. I know we have a couple of French contenders now thrown into the bunch, but look, I think if the Kinross of last time shows up, I think he wins. Will I be backing him at 6 to 4? Absolutely not.
Okay, yeah, I agree with you. I think Kinross has actually followed a similar route to Space Blues this season, moving into this. It's been quite a similar path, and I just think this is I say it so many times in this channel, but just a proper 7 furlong performer. You know, it's that kind of in between a mile performer and a sprinter, and this horse seems to be able to stay and have the speed to do this. I'd imagine Frankie will be on board once again, but I actually think this horse is an improving 5-year-old, and I think he's going to be taking this at 6 to 4. Let's go on to the big one then, the 305, the Group 1 Qatar Prix de l'Arc de Triomphe. It's over 1.5 miles, and the market looks like this. Irish Champion Stakes winner Luxembourg is 4 to 1. She will not be beaten. It's Alpinista is 11 to 2. Last year's 80 to 1 winner, don't need to mention that too often, Torquato Tasso 15 to 2. They can do it. We say it every year. Representing Japan is title holder 9 to 1. Irish Derby winner Westover 10 to 1. He's avoiding Baid. He's coming here. It's Verdania 11 to 1 and 14 to 1. Bar these. God, yeah, that was quite good.
That was sensational.
I should start doing the market like that, shouldn't I? Just give a little.
That was really good.
Really okay, good. I'm gonna have 3 in here. I know that you've got 2 in this race. I'll start off with the shorter because the other 2 are quite big prices. I'll start off with the shorter, and I like Alpinista here. Now I've been with this horse all season. I've been backing her all the way, and I'm not sure why she's 11 to 2. To be honest, I actually see her more as like a 5 to 2, 3 to 1 shot in here. Now, what's not to love about her? That she's beaten last year's ARC winner in Torquato Tasso over in Germany. She's winning Group 1 after Group 1 in multiple countries. She doesn't lie down. She keeps on grinding. And I just think with horses who keep winning at top class level, I don't understand how this horse, 3 to 1 would seem a fair price to me personally. And I see 11 to 2 here, and I think that's a decent win bet at that price. I think she's got a major chance of being an amazing story. And I think she'd be one of the better ARC winners in here because I don't think it's the strongest ARC. But if she were to win it, you'd say, yeah, look, she's a really, really good ARC winner. So yeah, Alpinista, it's got to be for me. I've got to keep backing her. 11 to 2, Sir Mark Prescott and Luke Morris. I'd love to see Luke Morris win it. Not the most stylish of jockeys, but a real character of the weighing room. So yeah, I'm going to have Alpinista as my first selection, Jack. Who's your first selection?
My first selection, the shorter of the 2, they're both double figure prices. You'll be pleased to hear. And I know we can talk about all the runners for all night if we really wanted to. But the first is going to be, I'm going to give another chance to Westover. Now, what a story it would be if Rafe Beckett could win the ARC. But I know he was so disappointing in the King George when he was beaten 18 lengths by Pole Driver, and Torquato Tasso ran a brilliant race that day. But I mean, he was such a destructive winner in the Irish Derby. He was beaten 2 3/4 lengths by the best 3-year-old we've seen this season, Desert Crown. And I think with a bit more luck, he probably would have been about half a length, maybe a length behind the best 3-year-old we've seen this season in Desert Crown. And when I say the best 3-year-olds we've seen this season, I do think he's the best 3-year-old by some way. And I do think he would put Luxembourg to the sword in good style here. Of course, you do have the problem not exactly the problem, but the slight question mark with the ground, a mile and a half on bottomless ground. Is it going to suit Westover? Who knows at the end of the day? But I think at a double figure price, I'd definitely kick myself if I still think he's an improving 3-year-old. The King George just didn't go his way whatsoever. We've seen he oozes class in the Irish Derby. Yes, it wasn't the best Irish Derby field, mind. But look, if he does take a step forward, he could be on the periphery, and hopefully at a double figure price, Westover will be able to go close.
Okay, Westover for you. I'm not going to ask for the actual name of the selection, Jack, but what is the price of your next one when it comes up?
28-1, not quite
Okay,
80, not quite 80. I was thinking, do I just put Alan Kerr up
fine.
at a triple figure price? But no,
I'll
no,
do
not
it then.
quite.
I'll do it then. 80-1. Here we go. Bubble Gift is the one that I like at a price. Yeah, I've said this. I don't think it's the strongest arc in the world. I can see there being a shock again this year and what's going to be potentially bottomless ground. It couldn't happen again, could it, at this kind of price? But look, this horse hasn't won this season, but was third to Alpinista in the Grand Prix de Saint-Cloud and staying on very eye-catchingly. And you've got an experienced jockey here in Olivier Pellier, a jockey I really love. He knows how to ride Longchamp extremely well. And I've watched this horse. I've watched a few of this horse's runs this season and just seems to stay and stay, which if it does come up bottomless, which this horse wouldn't mind at all, it will really suit. I think that this horse here is way overpriced. I still see it being a bit of a long shot. I could probably put it around 33, 40-1, but I can see this horse running a really big race. 80-1 each way. I'm going to be with Bubble Gift. You'll be able to guess my final selection probably in a minute. But go on, who's your second selection?
My second selection is going to be for Jean-Claude Rouget, and it is the very unexposed Al Hakim, who looks to have it all to do on ratings. But I'm going to have to give him a chance over a mile and a half. Of course, his sire Sayuni was successful with Sotsas a couple of years back. And yes, he wasn't all that impressive over a mile and a quarter at Deauville last time out, but I thought he shaped like he was screaming for a step up and trip in the Prix de Jockey Club when he had to come from the rear of the field all the way down the outside when beaten only 6 lengths by Verdanian. And if you watch that back, he looked like he was definitely an improving horse that day. Look, he should be able to handle this ground. Definitely step up and trip could eke out some more improvement. Christian Demuro is going to be on board. Is Jean-Claude Rouget for Al Shakab Racing, and hopefully at 28-1. The improving 3-year-olds I'm going with Westover and Al Hakim. Hopefully they'll be able to go well.
Al Hakim, 28-1. The final horse I'm going to be putting up is a horse who seems to love October and joining with me, and it is Seal Away.
Wow.
This is this is an interesting one because I don't think we're going to
Wow.
be able. I'm not sure we're going to see this horse on Champions Day again. To be totally honest, we might do, but I'm not sure. I think this could be the final run of the season. This horse is 40-1. Has actually been backed in from 50s just about an hour before it came on. So a little bit of money's already coming. It's not my money, let me say that. But look, we know this horse hasn't been the same this season. But remember, this horse ran last year in the Arc, finishing 5th on bottomless ground. And look at the horses that beat him. Torquato Tasso, Tarnawa, Hurricane Lane, and Adayar. Now, these are top class horses, and I think I don't know. I just don't think he's been himself all season, but I might blame that on the ground because if you go back and look at his runs, the best run of the season's come on very soft ground behind Skeletti finishing 2nd, which isn't the worst form in the world. And I think the softer, the more rain that comes, the better this horse's chances. I can just see him plugging on. He's become a bit of a boat, I've got a feeling, out in France. I don't know. I mean, we watched this horse when he ran in the Champion Stakes. It looked like he was probably going to get beaten at one stage by Dubai Honor, and he just kept plugging away and just kept going. And I just think that's what we're going to see this horse do. At the end of the race, going to be plugging on at one pace and might just overtake a few. But I'd love to see this horse win. Wouldn't it be great to cheer him on again, Seal Away? But like I say, I genuinely can you agree with me, Jack? This isn't a very good arc.
Oh no, I think it's an awful arc.
Yeah.
I think if Desert Crown was there, Adayar was there, Hurricane Lane was there, I'd probably be saying something different. But I think there was a lot to live up to after last year and the years for Enable, and now we're just kind of looking at this race saying, is this really the arc that we were hoping for at the beginning of the season? No, it's not, but it's still an arc nonetheless.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that, look, you're probably going to see a big price finishing in the places. It's going to be someone who's going to finish at a 40, 50, 80-1 price is going to finish. I'd be
I even
surprised if
think
it all.
going down to kind of Grand Lorient, Alan Kerr.
Yeah.
Alan Kerr's a Group 1 winner. I know
Yeah.
he hasn't proven it this season, especially over a mile and a quarter, but he was only beaten 6 lengths by Luxembourg at Leopardstown last time out. And he's 100-1. I know he was only 9th in this last time out, but if the ground isn't that bottomless, even Alan Kerr at a triple figure price, I think they're so tightly matched here. You really wouldn't be surprised to see any of them kind of go close.
Oh God, I don't know if you're going to try and claim that as a selection
Oh
or
no,
what.
no, 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 absolutely not,
But
absolutely
I've
not.
actually I've been watching Sky Sports Racing today, and Matt Chapman's been banging on about Alan Curtis, saying that the horse is completely the wrong price in the race.
Mm.
Again, would probably be one of sort of the 33 to 1, 50 to 1 shots, but 100 to 1 may seem quite big for some people. I suppose we've given our selections there, but I suppose we've got to talk about the favourite Luxembourg, because look, this horse could actually become the star of the race, and if this horse were to win, you'd hate to see him retire straight away, because we might not have got to the bottom of Luxembourg as of yet. But coming back off a long layoff, we saw a run which some people would say, look, it wasn't the best run, but he's then really taken a step forward from that run in the Irish Champion Stakes and shown what he can do. It was a massive step forward, in my opinion, from that run. You watch it back, and I was so impressed by Luxembourg, but I'm not sure about the ground, first of all, how well this horse is going to handle the ground. And this is I don't know whether this is actually that big a step up for him in terms of the grade and level. I think this potentially, is he the star in this field potentially?
I really don't think there is a star in this field.
I mean, has he only been beaten once? Is that right?
He has, yeah, when he was third
Yeah.
in the Guineas.
This is what I mean. This is why I don't know, because
We
this
could be
horse was
looking
very
and
short
trained
for a
by
derby
a
before getting
very,
injured.
yeah, a scintillating 4 to 1 arc winner, and none of us have even mentioned him.
Yeah.
I fail to see how there isn't something that's going to make a big challenge here
Right.
from a big price. If Luxembourg goes and wins, I don't think he's going to do it by 5 or 6 lengths. I can see him pipping something at a bigger price, and we'll say, that was the arc we all thought it was. Look, I'll hold my hands up and say I was wrong if Alpinista goes and romps in by 8 lengths. But I just see it being a bunched finish, and I don't see something really asserting their authority. But no, I completely agree with you. If there is one who is going to assert their authority, yeah, the most likely one is, of course, Luxembourg.
It's a really interesting one. I mean, I don't know too much with regards to the Japanese form either, but some story if any of their horses were
Oh,
to go
wow.
and do this. And title holder looks like the leading player for them at 9 to 1, and probably the one that's going to enjoy the ground
Mm.
the most. So yeah, Jacks with Al Hakim at 28 to 1, Westover at 10 to 1. I'm going to be with Alpinista at 11 to 2, Bubble Gift at 80 to 1, and Seal Away at 40 to 1 in this year's Prix de l'Arc de Triomphe. Now let's get the nap and next best for this week, and I haven't prepared it, but I can probably reel it off. Looking at Jack, we'll start off with your next best. Who's that going to be?
My next best is going to be. It's going to be Al Hakim in the arc. I know he's got to take a big step forward, more so than Westover. But I think in a very muddling race, he's a 3-year-old who's just sneaking under the radar. So Al Hakim for me.
28 to 1, nice each way, next best there. I'm going to be with Blue Rose Sen in the Prix Marcel Boussac, probably one of the most difficult races you've described as to pick a winner, but I'm going to put a horse up at 8 to 1 there. Blue Rose Sen in the Marcel Boussac. And your nap, Jack, this week?
My nap is actually before my nap. I was just going to mention a filly who's out this weekend who I'm not backing. I'm not allowed to back. I've shaken hands to say I'm not allowed to back her. But Ed Walker has a certain filly out in the 410 listed contest at Ascot. Her name escapes me.
I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say it.
She ran in
Look,
Falmouth this year.
you can mention a name. The one thing you cannot do is claim it as a winner. You cannot tweet about it if she wins. That is the rule.
Primo Baccio. It's Primo Baccio.
Yes,
She's
I
back
know.
out. Ladies and gents, she's back out. She will win a race before she retires. When she retires, who knows? What grade that's going to be in, who knows? Is she going to win this weekend? Who has a clue these days? I've left her. I've fully jumped off the plank. I've walked in and said goodbye, Mr. Ed Walker on Primo Baccio. So I do apologise, but I thought I had to squeeze her in there because I do love her. I'm going to be watching on with loving eyes, and hopefully she runs a good race.
Right,
but
get on with it. Can we get your nap now?
Sorry, I won't be back here. I won't be sitting here. I love you, Primo Baccio. And anyway, the nap is going to be in the Prejean Luke Lagardère. I think Chartash is going to beat the Antarctic.
Okay, I'm going to be quite bold with my nap this week, and I'm going to have an each way selections in the arc, and I'm going to put up Seal Away at 40 to 1 as my nap. I've done this before with Seal Away. I've napped Seal Away once before, and what did he do? He went and won at 14 to 1. I put it up as a win bet. This time I'm going to be putting up as an each way bet at 40 to 1, but that is going to be my nap this week. Well, there we go. I know, yeah. I mean, talk about cliff horses that you mentioned there. You wait until Champions Day preview because I tell you what, I've got a horse that I've been following right up a cliff, and all I can say is he'll be winning a big one on Champions Day.
No,
But
no.
we'll get to that. We'll get to that in a couple of weeks, Jack. No need to mention it now. But he'll be winning a big one, right? Next week, what have we got next week? We're probably going to have a preview out probably on the Thursday if we can, because we've got the Fillies Mile and the Dewhurst to look forward to next week. All eyes on the 2-year-old horses, and well, hopefully we'll see some real decent stars for next season come out. So looking forward to that, and then obviously the week after we'll be previewing one of my favourite days and one of Jack's favourite days in the British Flat Calendar, Champions Day. Really looking forward to actually getting there and being on course for that. A really fantastic day. I know there are still tickets available. I'm not getting paid by Ascot, whatever, but do get yourself there if you get the chance. And there's still tickets available in the Queen Anne enclosure. It's honestly a really spectacular day. And there we go. That's the end of the preview. Let us know down in the comments who your winner of the lArc is going to be. We'll be intrigued to see who you guys are going to be supporting this year. We'll be back next Thursday with our preview. And look, if you are having a bet this week, best of luck. We'll see you soon.